And welcome back to the Financially Simple Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Goodbread. Today we're going to continue with our conversation about personal finances for us business owners. More specifically, we're diving into this category of investing. Now, we've talked about asset allocation. We talked about rebalancing. We talked about a lot of things. I even did a little episode about 2 ago that said why we should not reinvest all of our money into our business. The concept of pay yourself first. Today, I want to talk about why should we invest? More specifically, I want to deal with this idea of compound interest. Compound interest. Now, I've seen this quoted multiple times. In fact, I've said this multiple times. And in my research, I got to tell you, I don't know if the man said it or didn't, but Albert Einstein, he's accredited with so much. I mean, the guy was a walking brain. He is accredited as to have said, again, I may be wrong. If you know who said this and it's not Albert Einstein, let me know. Tell me on Twitter, hey, Justin, it wasn't Albert Einstein. Fred Flintstone said this. Or look at it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever. Even email us at info@financially simple and let me know who said this. But it is credited as saying that Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. We have the 7 wonders of the world. I've seen a couple of them. They're amazing. But he says compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. There is probably nothing more frustrating to me than seeing a business owner who doesn't understand compound interest. I see it manifest on so many different fronts. I see it where people will go out and borrow a lot of money. And I understand the negative amortization schedule, and the negative effect is a better way to say it, of debt. They think, well, I borrowed $100,000 for that piece of equipment. I'm going to pay back $100,000. Ain't happening. You may pay back $200,000 or $180,000. So compound interest affects us negatively whenever we borrow debt. And then those who understand how compound interest works, they don't use it soon enough. They think, well, I will do that later. So today I want to talk to you about some basics of compound interest. One of the first things is it's sensitive to time. Dave Ramsey, and I quote his name because he's impacted my life more positively than negatively. He's impacted my life. He would say, Justin, how have I negatively impacted your life? That's not for this discussion today. I just don't agree 100% with everything he says. But by the way, I don't agree with 100% of everything I say. Okay, so I'm kind of split personality anyways. But Dave Ramsey on his website, and I've got to give him credit and I'm going to read directly from his website. This is the simplest form I've seen anybody do. And I thought about doing the math, but man, I would direct you, and we're going to have a link in the show notes at Financially Simple. By the way, while you're there, make sure you sign up for our newsletter. But Dave Ramsey does a great job on this one thing, and he's got it, friends. This is one that I wish he does hammer this home. I'm going to read directly from his website, from DaveRamsey.com. Ben and Arthur were friends who grew up together. They both knew they needed to start thinking about their future. At age 19, Ben decided to invest $2,000 every year for 8 years. He picked investment funds that averaged a 12% interest rate. Time out. That's one of the things I have a hard time with. I don't know where that 12% interest rate is. How do you pick investment funds that average 12% interest rate? Over what time period? Over a 10 or 20 or 30? Over 1? What did you pick out? So that's one of those things that it's just a nebulous statement. And if you try to look at it going forward, it's 12% is probably highly unlikely of what the markets will yield. But that's why Dave Ramsey, by the way, says, talk to your SmartVestor Pro, talk to your investment advisor, because he's not one. He's a great entertainer. Trust me, I chuckle at some of those things. He is not. Let me say it again. He is not. If I could get any closer, make that in your ear. Dave Ramsey is not a financial fiduciary that has to look at your best interest. He's an entertainer. He's a pretty good one at that. He's also very knowledgeable, by the way. He's a savvy business person. But anyways, back to Dave Ramsey's side. He picked investment funds that averaged 12% interest rate. Then at age 26, Ben stopped putting money into his investment. So get that. He's, sidebar again, he started at age 19, putting $2,000 a year, and then at 26, he stopped. So he put a total of $16,000 into his investment fund. Now, author didn't start investing until age 27. Just like Ben, he put $2,000 into an investment fund every year until he turned 65 years of age. He got the same 12% return as Ben, and he invested 31 years more than Ben. So author invested a total of $78,000 over a 39-year period. I want you to listen to that. Ben invested $16,000 for roughly, what is that, a 6-7 year period? And author invested same $2,000 a month, but he did over a 39-year period for a total of $78,000. And you may say, big whoopee-doo. This is where time matters, friends. When both Ben and author turned 65, they decided to compare their investment accounts. Who do you think had more? Ben, with his total of $16,000 invested over 8 years, or author, who invested $78,000 over 39 years? Let me ask you, who do you think had more? Well, logically, you know it's going to be Ben because of the way the context of the narrative goes. But on the website, daveramsey.com, he actually has a graphic that we're going to place on the Financially Simple site, and along with a link to how you can read this whole exegesis or this whole blog post that Dave did, or Dave's team did, I should say. At the end of that period of time, Ben came out ahead more than $700,000. Remember, Ben had invested a total of $16,000. At age 65, he had $2.28 million. An author who had invested from age 27 all the way to 65 had only $1.5 million. They started investing differently. One started 8 years earlier, and it turned $16,000 into $2.3 million. What happened? It's time. You said, man, Justin, I'm 40 years old. I'm 50 years old. Start today. Start investing as much as you can today. Start investing now. And if you could, just maybe max out your retirement accounts today, as we try to get most of our clients to do, then if your business never sells, as we talked about a few episodes ago, you're fine. If you've got children that you've invested, that you've hired into your business, teach them how to invest. Teach them to put money into the Roth IRA, the monies that you've paid them. If you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to set up a child's Roth IRA account, reach out to us. We do this with our clients on a regular basis. It's a strategy that we love to use because it can make, number two, you can make millionaires, I should say, from average people. So I want to read you this from the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It was written by Ramadi Sethi, so R-A-M-I-T, Ramit Sethi, S-E-T-H-I. I'm butchering his name again. But he wrote a book, a New York Times bestseller, saying, I'll teach you to be rich. I like the book. It's a good book. He wrote in there, quote, on average, millionaires invest 20% of their household income each year. I'm going to pause. So if you're making $100,000, are you putting 20 grand back a year? Let's read that again. On average, millionaires invest 20% of their household income each year. Their wealth isn't measured by the amount of money they make each year, but how they've saved and invested over time. In other words, you could be a project manager. You could be a teacher. You could be an office manager who makes $50,000 a year, and you could be richer, more wealthy than the dentist, the doctor, the lawyer, the financial advisor who's potentially earning $250,000 a year. If you have a higher net worth, it's directly proportionate to how you save and how you invest over time. So the reason why compound interest works, and it's the eighth wonder of the world, is that the sooner you start investing, and you do it through a diversified portfolio, and you do it through the things we try to teach here, you can actually turn yourself from average, if you consider yourself average, or middle class. Over time, you can end up being wealthy. Let me read that quote again because I just think it's so powerful. I'll Teach You to Be Rich is the book. I challenge you to look at it. By the way, what we'll do is we'll put a link to that book, I'll Teach You to Be Rich, inside the blog post on financiallysimple.com. And if you're looking at this video on YouTube, a lot of the videos now are going on YouTube, look in the show notes below and there'll be a link there to I'll Teach You to Be Rich. Just click on that. It goes over and you'll know the exact book I'm talking about. But here he goes. On average, and I'm quoting again, on average, millionaires invest 20% of their household income each year. Their wealth isn't measured by the amount of money they make each year, but how they've saved and invested over time. Man, that's powerful. And over the time brings in our third point. Investing is going to require patience. It's going to require patience. Whenever I first came in the financial world, and this has been some 15, 16, 17, however many years ago, it's been a while ago, I remember looking at a penny on a desk. And I was at a training facility about 2 weeks after I passed my test, my licensing, so to speak. And some young hotshot individual came in and they began talking about this penny. And they said, if I could give you a penny which doubled every day for 30 days, would you take it? Or would you take $2 million instead? I went, man, I'd have $2 million. Bird in the hand's better than two in the bush. What ultimately happens is after 30 days, let's say that you have a penny. You start off with 1 cent, then it doubled to 2 cents. And on day 3, it went to 4 cents. On day 4, it went to 8 cents. On day 5, it went to 16 cents. I'm doing this in my head. On day 6, it went to 32 cents. On day 7, it went to 64. On day 8, 128, then 256, then 512, then 1024, then 2048, then 4096, 8192. I'm probably messing this up. 163.84, 327, 68, 355, 36, 13, 10, 72, 26, 21, 44, 52, 42, 88. 10, 485, 76, 29, 71.52. Y'all check me on this. I may be wrong. In fact, I'm going to have to get a little chart here and double check my math because I'm doing this from my head. Let's see, that was, the next one's 20, 4194.04. Then that'd be 83,886.08. Then that's going to be 167,722. I'm sorry, 772.16. 335, 544.32, 671, 088.64, 1342, 177.28. That's going to give us 2,684,354 and 56. And in day 30 is going to be $5,368,709.12. Yeah, I think those are right. Doubling money every day for 30 days. You're $5,300,000. Here's the deal. Listen to how fast it exponentially grew. 1,300,000 and some change on day 29. And I'm not going to do it all again and get the exact number. 2.6 million on day, 1.3 million on day 28, 2.6 million on day 29, 5.3, almost 4 million on day 30. Those numbers only begin to exponentially increase the longer we're in the market. Investing is going to require patience. You're not going to get rich quick. Just like in your business, you're not going to build a business which is going to go from today nothing to tomorrow multi-millionaire. Yeah, we hear about the unicorns. That's why they're called unicorns, because they're so freaking rare. But when it comes to investing, it's going to take time. The issue is do not think you're going to get rich quick in the marketplace. It's a long, slow game. In fact, I even call it my slow money or my stupid money. I'm just setting it back and it'll be okay. Long term, I'll make money. But most importantly about investing is investing. The reason why we should do it is because you have the opportunity to forever impact generations. The best story I've ever heard on this is Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin drafted a will on roughly July 17th, 1788. Franklin combined his goal of his idea of promoting civic virtue with his fascination. He was fascinated. Y'all just Google how many times Benjamin Franklin used the term compounding interest. He promoted his goal of civic virtue along with the fascinating power of compounding interest. He realized that you can even make small sums grow by carefully creating a structured philanthropic trust. In fact, he designed a trust to last exactly 200 years. 200 years. He made separate bequests. He gave £1,000 each, which today's be worth roughly $130,000, $140,000, maybe $120,000 roughly. Back in about 07, 08, it had been about $100,000 when this article first broke. But he gave roughly £1,000 or $100,000 to Boston and to Philadelphia. And he instructed that the money be used to make microloans at a 5% interest rate per year to married men under 25 who had completed an apprenticeship and wanted to start their own business. I mean, I love it. You had to go through an apprenticeship. You had to be married. In other words, you had to be founded. You had to be under age 25 and you wanted to start a business. I mean, Benjamin Franklin put his money where his mouth was. Almost $100,000 of his money went into this. And basically, he showed and he estimated how the funds would grow over a 200-year period. And he specified that any additional monies could be used for improvements such as fortifications, bridge, aqueducts, basically civil improvements to make living in the town more convenient so that people would be agreeable to strangers, which would help the small business owners who borrowed the money. When the first century century came by, Franklin's micro lending and municipal improvements project came in at about roughly 1890. The trust in Philadelphia contained from $100,000, which in 2008 was about $2.8 million. And the trust in Boston had grown from, remember he put roughly £1,000. It has swelled to almost $431,000 or $10.1 million in 2008's numbers. Franklin stipulated that in his will, after 100 years, the city leaders should reassess how additional income generated by the funds could be utilized for public works. Now, the sad part of this story is Franklin was right. He was right. If you put just a small amount of money and you get a nominal interest rate, you can change generations. Not only impact your own, but you can change generations. What happened was his greed kicked in, and then the trust it ended up going for 200 years, but it wasn't what Franklin had envisioned. Franklin was wise beyond his years. Franklin was amazing, and he understood the power of compound interest. But more importantly, he understood that just a small amount of money could change a town, generations, not just, think of all those people who borrowed the money who started businesses. It changed so much. So where are you right now? You have a business? Sure you do. You listen to this podcast, which is for business owners. You have a business and you may say, well, one day my children may become a part of the business. Probably not. Well, one day my grandkids may become part of the business. Probably statistically not. But you can diversify. You can pull money out of the business, properly invest it, and understanding the value of compounding interest, you could forever change your heritage. Coincidentally, that's why our company that I started back in 2009 is called Heritage Investors. Heritage Investors. Because I want to invest in a heritage. I want to invest in the things which are going to matter far beyond my life. I want to do these type of teaching things where maybe I can impact them. Friends, I got to tell you, I'm so humbled by the tweets, the emails, the notes, hey, brother, thank you. I had somebody that was on Instagram. They said they took my podcast, they shared a snippet, and they said, man, I love the fact that Justin says, make it a great day. I don't say that by happenstance. I believe it's on each of us to make our lives happen. I'm honored that you're a part of this journey. But man, all for me, it's about leaving a heritage, leaving something that is greater than I could have ever been. impacting a world with simple theories, with simple teaching. It doesn't have to be complicated. That doesn't have to be holding some PhD in a ground center or a big shiny office somewhere. That, yes, some good old country common sense can drastically change your financial or your family's trajectory. You can leave a heritage. Look, I get it. Life is hard. We start talking about heritage, most of us want to choke ourselves. Life is good, though, and life can be frustrating. Money doesn't have to be. It doesn't. Hey, look, we're going to continue to make our lives at least financially simple. Y'all go out and make it a great day. Only you can do that. Take care.